Yes, sir.
Give me an all right, Nathan.
All right.
Yeah, let's go.
All
Okay.
right.
Whew. What a long day and a long week it has been.
I know, right?
Happy to be back on the Totally Offside podcast.
Except
Here we go.
there's no news.
Well, there's no news and there's no podcast right now because we just aren't able to edit
Yeah.
it. So
I
hopefully
know
you're
it's the
listening
worst.
to this like tomorrow and we fixed it all. But yeah, I don't know. Aside from being just utterly beaten down by like the lack of podcast success due to editing failure and the 40-degree heat with like 100% humidity that I've been working in, I really need this. Feeling good right
Yeah.
now.
Nice
Ready to rock and
refresher.
roll.
Reset the week.
The fact that there's no news is fine. You know what I mean?
We can scrap something together. We're good at that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did fail to like really deep dive into our idea list and see if there was anything new we could pull off today.
Yeah, but I mean,
But that's all right. These things
yeah,
happen.
that's for another pod.
Nobody's
It's fine.
perfect. It is a Monday after all.
This is true.
Maybe we set ourselves up poorly recording on
Maybe we
Mondays.
should have done Fridays. Who knows?
Yeah, but I'm not ready to do shit Friday afternoon. You know what I
That's
mean?
true. That's true.
I need this. I need this on my Monday to make Mondays worth it. Today I almost cried and quit work. I don't know. The heat's really fucking doing me in. So I needed this. I was living for this.
Anyway,
So
should we get started?
yeah, I mean, maybe first we'll say like go follow Twitter because I don't know if many people have made it to the end when we've been
True. Yeah,
mentioning it. So
we should probably do that.
yeah, go check
Like,
Totally Off
subscribe.
Pod on Twitter. Definitely like and subscribe if you're on YouTube.
Leave a comment if you feel like it.
Please leave comments and feedback. Tell me I'm a raging asshole. Tell me what you want us to
Yeah.
talk about. It doesn't matter. Just
Tell
give
us
us
if we
something.
missed anything.
For sure. Let us know if there's
Yeah,
stuff going on that
we'll
you
cover it.
want us to talk about. Because I mean, I don't really look at soccer news as much as I probably should. And
Yeah,
things
no,
like
I
that.
don't really look at the soccer news either.
I do have a note today about yachting, though. So we're getting a bit quirky.
Oh, okay. I
But
see
yeah,
that.
so definitely give us a follow on Twitter. I'm pretty adamant about updating it at least when we record. So right now it's once to twice a week, but I'm on there for a little while. I try to relay some of the similar topics or discussions or articles as to what we were talking about, or some smaller things that we don't have a lot of time to try to brief over in the podcast. Sometimes there's a comment on there about other stuff happening or whatever. And so if you want to reach out to us, that's a great place to do it. But without further ado, yeah, Nathan, take us away into the wide world of basketball.
Okay. Wide world of basketball. Right now it's pretty narrow, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh God, yeah,
But
it's narrower than like a
we're
true
in like
down
the deadest part
south,
of the
like
off season.
swamp thriving Alabaman. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that narrow.
But so LeBron on August 4th, LeBron was eligible for his contract extension. So
The
it would
day
be,
after we recorded last week, then, or
I
something.
think
What was
so. I
that?
think so. Yeah.
It might have been a little bit later. I feel like
But
we
so
just missed it.
yeah, he's officially eligible for his contract extension, up to 2 years, which would leave him as a free agent in 2024. The max extension he can get would be valued at $97.1 million over 2 years.
Jesus.
And the reason he can only sign a 2 year extension is because him and Chris Paul, actually, this is a rule that they instated, was because through like the NBA Players Association,
Yep.
there's the over 38 rule. So the over 38 rule is that in terms of only extensions, not actual contracts, but in terms of extensions, any player that would be over 38 by the end of the contract can't sign an extension over that. So
Is
like if
that
you're
for like
37
team
years old, you can
protection or
only
is that
sign.
player protection?
It's for team protection. So a
Okay, I thought
team
so.
doesn't extend a player who just
It
retires
it
when he
it
hit like
it
40.
holds GM's hands so they don't make a terrible deal.
Yeah, exactly. So he's 36 right now. He signs a 2 year extension. Or no, sorry, he's 38 right now. Signs a 2 year extension. He'll be 40 in 2024, which is when LeBron James Jr. is eligible to get drafted.
And he's been pretty
So he
adamant
would
about
be
playing with him.
exactly. And then 2 years after that, Bryce James is eligible to get drafted. So he could theoretically play with both his sons.
That feels
It would
like
just They would
that
just both have to end up on the same team.
That would be insane. You know what I mean?
It would be crazy, yeah.
Like the fact alone that he's 42 playing in the NBA, regardless of the reason or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it, that's kind of fucking mental.
Because, like, I know a bunch of people are saying, like, LeBron should go back to Miami, LeBron should go back to Cleveland, yada, yada, yada. And I don't think he's going to go sign a contract anywhere because if he does sign a contract anywhere, it's going to be a 4-year contract. Because if you're signing LeBron, you're signing LeBron to a max,
Sure.
right? And in 4 years, then he could play with Bryce, but he wouldn't
And
be able to play with Bronny.
that's kind of his goal.
Yeah, and yeah, so like you're kind of picking a favorite son if you do that, I feel like.
Yeah, that's true.
So like I think he's gonna sign the extension because I don't see him going into free agency this year. I feel like there's no reason for him to go into free agency this year. Or next year, I guess it would be. Because this year is currently still free agency. But like Bryce so far, Bryce has seemed like the better son. Bryce seems like he's gonna be the better
Really?
one. Yeah.
I feel like all I've heard is Bronny, like
Well, yeah,
as
but that's
long as
because
I can
Bryce would
remember.
like Bryce kind of flew under the radar for a while. But now Bronny's 6'3". He's like 17 years old, I think. 6'3". Bryce is like 15,
6'6" or
6'6".
whatever, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I heard not too long ago. Is
So
that
like if anyone's gonna end up being LeBron, like LeBron 2.0, it's gonna be Bryce. And
yeah, I mean
LeBron,
that's
like
cool.
Bronny's more of like a shooting guard kind of guy, whereas Bryce is more of like a small forward, power forward. Like he'd be able to do the big body, like
He's what
you
his
know.
dad is.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that's a fun fucking duo.
Crazy, yeah.
Could you
But
imagine like
imagine like
after LeBron's gone, you get these two guys, if you can wind
yeah.
them up on the same team, like
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, if I'm a GM right now, I'm drafting Bronny like, if I'm I s it depends on the draft class, but, like, late lottery to, like, just after the lottery, I would draft Bronny, and then I would do my best to be able to draft Bryce the next year.
I mean a lottery team in all sense, like you are looking at a good chance to within your budget like draft Junior and then and be in room to sign LeBron. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well,
And
because
still
LeBron
have
was like
value coming out of that because as a lottery team, like that's a
yeah,
veteran star is something you're probably looking for.
but, like, LeBron has also publicly stated that he's willing to take a min to play with his son.
Oh, for sure.
Like, he'll take a veteran's minimum to play with his son, which is, like, 2 mil, which
Hmm.
whatever, like or
It
it's, like,
doesn't
1.87, I
matter.
think.
Like it's only because he's not allowed to play for free at that point.
Yeah.
He
Like,
doesn't
he
care
would
about
if he
the money.
could. But so, like, having all 3 Jameses on the same team
How would their
would be
jerseys line
absurd.
up? Like, because you could do
It
like
would be
junior, and then you have like B James and
so
L
one would
James.
be yeah, one would be L. James, one would be
But like I
just
as
James
as
Jr.,
a
and then
fan, I
one would
feel
be
like the
B.
memes that would come from L James would just be
That's
hilarious.
true, that would be hilarious.
I don't know. Does he want to do that? I wouldn't want to
Well,
do
it
that.
depends if he wants to go by James Jr. or if he wants to go by Bronny,
Would they let
because
him
that's
do
what he's
that?
been going well, because that's like well,
You
yeah,
can put
yeah,
whatever
there's
name
players
you
like
want on a jersey.
well, no, well, it would be if he went by Bronny, he would just be Bronny James. So he would be another B. James.
Well, that's what I mean. You'd
Because
have to do
like
James Jr.
well, yeah, if you wanna not have the same jersey as your brother. Because
Because at that point, how do you differentiate yours and LeBron's
it would
jersey?
just be number. It would just be purely by number. And what
I
number would they
guess.
take, though? Because like, I feel like LeBron goes back to 23.
Yeah.
One of them, I think Bronny takes 6, and then
Okay.
Bryce takes another number.
What do they play under now? Do you know?
I have no idea. I think Bronny plays under 23.
I mean, I would assume they'd probably play under 23.
Yeah,
I
because
would.
like yeah, if my dad was LeBron James, I'd be playing under
Yeah. Oh,
23 as
fuck
well.
yeah. I'd have that shit tatted on my face. Yeah, man.
But yeah, so
My dad's the greatest.
that's the LeBron situation.
I don't know. What do you think
I
most
think
likely is?
I think he goes back to LA for 2 years, and then he just leaves after his
He
contract is
just
done.
goes wherever Junior's
Where
drafted
he
and
yeah, he just goes wherever Bronny's drafted.
I know this is a crazy question, but what do you think like teams that could land him might be? Like 2 years from now, draft lottery
Well,
teams is a little
obviously,
bit unpredictable, but
like Oklahoma City,
yeah,
because they have like
you think
a
they're still
million
going to be
picks.
like mid lottery though?
Well,
Well,
like
I guess
how
that's
many
true. They do
picks?
have a
Yeah,
shitload of picks.
how many picks do they have?
Statistically, that's probably a pretty good guess.
Yeah,
I
I
love
want to
hearing
see.
the
Oh yeah,
keyboard fire.
I'm just gonna
I
type
really
this in
hope
real
that the
quick.
editing doesn't cut that out because like that's important. We're doing active
Okay,
searching.
so 2023 alone, or no, 2024, the year that Bronny gets drafted. They have their own pick. They have Utah's first round pick. They have the Clippers' first round pick, and they have Houston's first round pick.
Those
And they
list some
also have
lotteries.
Charlotte or Minnesota's second round pick.
Okay, well you probably don't pull
So
them with a second rounder.
I think they're going to be lottery
Yeah, those other
unless
three
Chet
teams could
Holmgren
probably
is,
all be
unless
lottery,
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey, and Chet Holmgren become like nuts.
which I could see happening. But
Yeah. And then I think the Clippers and Houston are both lottery.
for sure,
I think Utah could avoid the lottery.
they could, but I don't know. How
I don't
much
think
do
they'll
we
be great,
trust in
but
Utah?
yeah, that's true. Not much trust in
Not
Utah.
much trust.
And then 2026, 2026, they have Houston's first, the Clippers first, their own second, Dallas and or Philadelphia's second.
So they've got another set that probably give them a good chance at Bryce, depending on how high
Because
he
the thing with
goes.
Bryce, if he goes high, you just trade like year
You've
three
got
first for
you've
him.
got all your stock that you need right there. I mean, at that point, the whole point is to draft Bryce. Otherwise, your draft's a bust, basically.
Yeah.
Right? Like in the grand scheme of, I don't know if that's necessarily how a GM would look at it, but from a fan's perspective, from the James family perspective, that's the goal.
Yeah, you would want. I think both as a fan, and if you're drafting Bronny, I think you want all three.
I think that's the
It's
whole
essentially
reason you
the
would.
Infinity Stones at that point.
Well, that's what I mean.
Like,
No matter how you do, you're now etched in the face of NBA fucking legacy for the rest of time. You know what I mean?
I could see him. It would be hilarious if he went to the Kings, to be honest. Just
Oh, that
because
would be
how
awesome.
bad the Kings are. But
Well, and
also,
like
it would be
the
great to see
King
the
James.
the King playing for the Kings with his like princes.
They'd have to redo fucking. They'd have to rebrand.
They'd have to leave Sacramento.
They'd have to let him rebrand the team.
Yeah, they'd have to just be the LeBron James Kings. The Akron Kings. They'll just relocate to
Do you
Akron.
think he then buys an ownership stake or gets hired on as
I
like
think
a like
LeBron's gonna
something
either
where his kids are after he retires?
LeBron is either going to own GM or coach a team when he
You think he
retires.
could? You think they'd give him a GM job? Like
I
obviously not
mean,
right away.
not after last year, but like prior years, yeah. Like he got Kevin Love to come to Cleveland, and like when
I guess
Kevin Love
that's
was in
true. I mean, he's
Minnesota,
probably
he
the
was really
most
good.
influential GM you could ever have.
Yeah, he's the only player GM in the league.
I guess
Really.
if you had a good AGM with him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody who knew the business really
I
well.
don't think he'll coach really, but he's
I don't know.
smart
I
enough
feel
to
like
coach if he
coaching would
wants to.
be like almost boring to him. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
but
Like
I
it might be
definitely
fun
think
for a few
he
years,
is
but
going to own a team at some point.
oh, I can see it.
I
It's
see no
Jeter,
way.
right?
Like even if it's like Cleveland or something, I think he's gonna own a team
That
at
would
some
be
point.
cool. Do you think he'd own one outright, or do you think it'd be like ownership stake?
I think it would be major stake. I think he would have majority stake.
Really? Okay, I could see
Yeah,
that. I mean, he's got the money to.
yeah. It's because it's hard to own the full team.
Well,
Like
absolutely, yeah,
it's difficult to own it like 100% of one team.
for
So
sure.
yeah, I think he has majority stake.
God, we are
Anyway.
not gonna be rid of LeBron for like the rest of our
Oh no,
lives.
LeBron's gonna be involved in the NBA for as long as he's alive.
Good lord. Glad I'm a fan. All
Uh,
right, move
yeah.
on, buddy.
Moving on to other bad market teams, we have the Knicks making a very questionable decision. So
This is
I
so
read that
Knicks.
the Donovan Mitchell trade talks are stalling out due to the Knicks refusing to trade Quinton Grimes. Quinton Grimes was the 25th overall pick in 2021. He averaged 6 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist on 40, 38, 68 splits in 17 minutes per game.
Wow.
his role is like spot up shooter. That's like
He's
his
got a
thing. It's like
1.4 win share. That's pathetic.
but even for spot up shooter, like he almost averaged 40-40, which is, not bad. That's like 40% from deep is like
Yeah,
really, really good.
that's
But
solid.
also he averaged 68 from the line.
Which
So you're
is
telling
crazy.
me like a shooter averaging 68 free throw percentage? Like that's not very good.
Okay, they've got his 2023 projection on Basketball Reference, and they do have his splits going at 43% from the field, 39% from behind the arc, and 73% from the free throw line.
Which is still not great.
It's still not great.
Like I think the Knicks are seeing a lot more potential in Quinton Grimes than anyone else is.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
I
like
don't know. Like,
he's a good player to have. Like I'll always want a 40% 3-point shooter from
on my
like
bench,
just
yeah,
sitting
that's
in the corner.
great.
Like look at Joe Harris. Like he lasted so
Oh
long on
God,
the
yeah.
Nets because like he's
That's what
Joe
he does.
Harris. He just sat there and shot threes.
But when you can go get Donovan Mitchell, why do
Yeah, but
you
you can
value
get
this so
Donovan
much
Mitchell.
more?
Just
You
give
can
up
get
Quentin
Quentin
Grimes.
Grimes again. You know what I mean?
You
This
could
guy
draft. Yeah, you
continues
can
to
draft.
exist.
There are like 50 other Quentin Grimes in college right now.
You could
Like you
probably go
can
find
just
one on the
go
free
draft
agent
another one.
market right now,
Exactly.
like
So
a
I
like
don't
a,
know.
a nobody rookie type. Like like that's not.
Like they're valuing this guy so much more over
God,
Donovan
what a
Mitchell right
Knicks
now,
move.
which is it blows my mind that Quentin Grimes is the reason that I would have thought like Julius Randle was the reason they weren't going to trade for him. I can kind of understand holding on to Julius Randle
I mean, I
because you
guess,
had
but I
that one
still
good
don't
year
fully
where he won it,
understand it.
or like RJ Barrett. I could understand RJ Barrett, right?
Yeah.
Like if Utah's like we'll trade you Donovan Mitchell, but we want RJ Barrett, and the Knicks were like no, I'd be like sure, that's fine, that makes sense. But the Utah Jazz are like we'll give you Donovan Mitchell, we want Quentin Grimes. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's other stuff added into that probably, but still, the Knicks are the thing that's stopping the Knicks from trading for Donovan Mitchell is Quentin Grimes,
God.
which
Glad
is
I'm not a New York person.
I know
Should have
I'd
been.
be crying right now.
Fuck. That's so painful. Like you're like, just
Like
bring him here. He could help us
6 points,
fucking
2 rebounds,
win.
and 1 assist on 17 minutes.
That's the worst part is he's getting minutes, man.
He's getting
You're
minutes.
playing. You're
If
not
he was
playing fucking
playing like
3 minutes
garbage
of
minutes,
garbage time.
yeah. If he was playing garbage time, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But he's playing 17 minutes.
In garbage time, those stats are great. You would say give him more minutes. Like, you know what,
He's
you know what I
playing.
mean?
He's playing more than a quarter's worth of game.
And doing nothing. Is he like a high caliber defender?
No, he can't defend. He's purely offensive.
What the fuck? Like, good lord. Do you
He's
think
just
we
a
could get
shooter. That's all
hired?
he is.
Like, could we go
By
be
the
GM,
Knicks,
AGM of the Knicks
we
tomorrow?
could probably.
I'm real fucking tired of working at the
I
golf course, and I have a friend who was almost one of the Knicks dancers. She just couldn't do it because of COVID shit. So, like, I got an in, I think, right?
oh,
That
there you
counts
go.
as something.
Because like I could probably rebuild the Knicks better than they are.
You probably rebuild the Knicks like almost weekly in 2K.
We could get him back in like the Patrick Ewing era, the Carmelo Anthony era.
I prefer Patrick Ewing.
Oh yeah, Carmelo was less successful,
Fat
but
Mello is not where it's at for me.
Melo
I'm more
was
of a
fun to
fat guy.
watch. He was less successful, but he was fun to watch. Obviously, Ewing was just better.
It's funny you mentioned Patrick Ewing. I've actually got a note about him today too.
I don't know why. True, we got our This Day in Sports segment coming up.
Fuck yeah! I think I'm gonna find some sound for that. Actually, I might spiff it up if at all possible.
Oh yeah,
I know we're trying to just figure out editing, but I like the idea of having a little theme sound for it because it's something I feel like I want to pull up every now and then.
yeah, I'm down for that. We should do that.
I don't know. I might
Yeah,
just
let's see.
focus on getting this out tonight. That should
Yeah,
probably be
true.
the
Just get
goal.
this out. That's the situation in New York right now. The situation in Brooklyn, however, next to New York, is also not going very well.
Oh my god, it's so
Because
spicy. It's so
oh yeah,
interesting.
it's fun to watch. It's like watching like a soap opera.
Yeah, it does kind of drain you a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
watch a good soap opera, sure, you're riveted and you're into the characters and you're following what's happening, but at the same time, you're like, I know that I'm wasting my time. Kind of how I
So yeah,
feel.
if for those who don't know, Kevin Durant um obviously asked for a trade from Brooklyn, and apparently the reasoning is he doesn't want to work with Steve Nash anymore. So he wants a change of scenery. So he's said either trade me or fire Steve Nash, which
Which is a crazy
confuses me.
ultimatum.
Which confuses me because Steve Nash is like, yeah, obviously he's not the best coach in the league because he's a player and he's new to coaching. Like he didn't just he. It's not like he's been coaching for a long time.
Right.
And like it's not like players can't become good coaches. Like look at Doc Rivers, right? Like
Exactly.
he's one of the greatest coaches of all time, and he was a player. But I think you just need to give Steve Nash some time. Obviously, Kevin Durant doesn't have time; he's getting old.
For
But
sure.
I think you should trust in Steve Nash a little bit more.
For sure. Why wouldn't you? I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like he's done the team wrong this far.
No, I think realistically, what they should have done though was they should have hired Nash as an assistant coach instead of the head coach.
Is this his first head coaching job? I don't think so, right?
Yeah, I think
It
so.
is?
Yeah,
Was he an assistant before this?
because he had just denied coaching for like a while, and then Brooklyn was like, "You want to coach for us?" And he was like, "Sure."
Wild. Okay.
And then he tried to get Dirk Nowitzki as his assistant coach, and Dirk was like, "I'm not doing that." He was like, "I love
Dirk's
you,
like,
buddy,
I got
but
more
I'm not
money
doing
than
it."
that. I'm not doing it.
He's like, "I have a reputation to uphold, so no."
I love it. Steve
Yeah,
Nash is
so
Canadian, right?
I think,
I'm not
yeah,
just imagining that.
he's like the greatest Canadian basketball
Yeah, I
player
thought
to
so. Okay.
ever. I mean, it depends on how Andrew Wiggins does in the future, but
It's
I don't think
looking
he'll be.
like it's kind of in Nash's favor,
Yeah, it's
from
still
my
kind
point
of
of
in
view.
Nash's favor. But so that's the situation in Brooklyn. I think, obviously, I think Durant should leave. I think Durant needs to get traded. He's clearly not working out well with Kyrie Irving. I think Kyrie should still go to the Lakers. I know that's also stalled out, but I think the Lakers should trade for Kyrie because the most you're giving up is like Westbrook and Taylor Horton Tucker,
And that doesn't hurt.
and like you're not losing much
No,
because Westbrook is not a good role player. The thing with Westbrook is he needs to be the guy, but he's not good enough to be the guy.
absolutely.
Like, don't get me wrong, this man is the greatest triple double machine in NBA history. But
Yeah, taking nothing away from him, but that's what
yeah,
he
no,
is. He's not a role player.
yeah, he's not a role player, and he's also not good enough to be the first
He's not a
option, even though
superstar
he
anymore.
can't play unless he's the first option.
Exactly.
So it's kind of a conundrum that they're in, a little ultimatum of do I want Westbrook the triple double machine or do I want Westbrook the bricklayer?
I mean, I don't know. It doesn't feel like a hard decision in my mind.
Well, yeah, obviously you want Westbrook the triple double machine, but then that also leads to no team success.
I know. I
So it's
mean,
like
well, how long does he have left on his contract, or is he looking to still ride it quite a few years?
probably. I think he has 3 years left. I think they signed him to a max, didn't they? Oh no, they didn't.
I don't
They
think
signed him
so.
to a 3 year or something like that. Let me check real quick. Oh, it's actually worse, I think.
Oh no.
Oh no, we're good. It's just a 1 year contract.
Yeah, okay. So it's not like you're committing to him for a long time.
Yeah.
All you
Next,
have to do
after
is
this
not
year,
re-sign them.
he's an unrestricted free agent. I didn't realize this, but when he signed this contract, he signed a 5-year, $200 million contract with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Wow.
Then he got traded to the Rockets. Then he got traded to the Wizards. Then he got traded to the Lakers.
Wow.
So when he
That
signed
blows
this
my fucking
contract,
mind, dude.
he was still on OKC.
That's
And
so
it feels
fucking
like
mind-blowing.
ages since he's been on OKC.
Yeah, I can't even hardly remember that being in my lifetime, it feels like.
The last time he played there was 2018, 2019.
Fuck, buddy, was that the first year of university for us?
No, it would have been
Was
that
that
would have been
grade
the last
12?
year of high school. That would have been the last year of high school.
Jesus Christ.
But grade 12
Time
would
has
have been.
flown by. God,
So yeah,
I don't know.
that's the Russell
You messed me
Westbrook
all
situation.
up here now.
I think they just let. I don't think they should let him walk though.
Why not?
Well, because it's Russell Westbrook. Like you can get stuff for him. Trade him this season at some point.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea, I guess. I don't know.
But you have to trade him to a team that's like that
It
wants to
feels
win
like
now.
more hassle than it's worth, if I'm being honest. If I'm a GM, I know that's why I'm not a GM.
I
but
mean,
if I'm just sitting there like I
like
have to make so many phone calls.
I would be actively shopping him if
Yeah.
I was the Lakers, and then if he didn't get traded by the end of the season, I would just let him walk.
Guess who's on
Like
the trade block?
pretty much. Cause like, you know, he's good. Just he's expensive. He's currently the
His
highest paid
value
player on the Lakers.
is not there. You know what I mean? The value
He's
is not
currently
existing.
the highest paid player on the Lakers.
Mm.
Over LeBron. Over
God,
AD.
that hurts to realize. Holy shit.
Because he's on a supermax contract. LeBron and AD are just on a max.
This is hilarious.
He's making $3 million more than LeBron.
Oh my god. Oh, fuck.
Wild.
He must sleep really well at night.
Oh yeah.
I bet he sleeps like a fucking baby. Oh my god. All right, Nathan. So what comes of this? This feels like so much fucking NBA mayhem right now. I can't even wrap my head around it.
I don't even know
what does the league look like next year? Like, is there even going to be the same teams at this point? I don't know.
The Warriors are still going to be the best team in the league.
That just
if anything, the Warriors are going to be better.
Jesus Christ.
And then
I guess Poole has another year, and all those guys.
Kuminga's gotten better. Wiggs is better. Steph is still Steph. Clay is still Clay. Draymond is
doing his thing.
A pylon, but you know he's a loud pylon, so he creates distractions.
What's Boston gonna be? Boston's gonna be again.
Boston? I don't think Boston's making it back next year. I don't think they're gonna make it back to the finals next year.
Who knows what Brooklyn's gonna be doing? The Knicks.
They got Malcolm. The Celtics got Malcolm Brogdon though, so that's big for them.
There you go.
But the Brooklyn Nets are gonna be a mess next year. The Knicks are. I don't even know what the Knicks are doing.
Are the Suns gonna continue to hurt everybody who lives in Phoenix?
Probably.
Awesome for them. You get to live in fucking 110
I'm sorry,
degrees
Phoenix.
every day
You guys are
and wallow in sadness.
I'm sorry, Phoenix. You guys aren't winning a chip. I want you to. I really do. But Luka Doncic is insane. You guys have really nice jerseys, but Luka Doncic also owns your team, so that's unfortunate. I think Scotty Barnes is going to be an all-star next year. It's kind of a bold statement, but I could see Scotty Barnes
like what he does for the Raptors. I can see.
I mean, he basically was an all-star as the rookie of the year. Like
that's true.
Him and Evan Mobley are arguably played at an all-star level last year, but because they're a rookie, they didn't make it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then, which is funny because they're the third and fourth pick. Like Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham. Jalen Green is horribly inefficient.
Cade went to Detroit, didn't he?
Yeah. Cade Cunningham is really, really good. He was just injured for the first half of the season.
Oh, well, you can't do much about that.
I think the 2021 draft is going to finish equivalent to the 2003 draft.
Really?
Like, they're going to be just as good as the LeBron, D-Wade, Carmelo, and Chris Bosh draft.
That's fucking crazy. That's a wild statement.
That is a wild statement, but I think it's true.
Dude, you are just flashing heat around the place today.
Because they are good. They are a good bunch of like young talent. I think Jalen Green just needs to become a little more efficient, and he'll be one of the most effective scoring machines in the league.
I mean, isn't he already basically their leading scoring option?
Yeah, but
So
like he's basically going to be the second coming of James Harden, just less foul heavy.
grow a beard. Let's go.
Jalen Green with a beard would look so weird. I don't
He
like
would look
that.
like a fucking caveman.
Right, that's
Doesn't he have
so
like big
next year
hair?
is going to be basically, long story short, next year is going to be a mess.
Glad I'm not an NBA fan. I can't take the stress. I drink too much. Oh, he's got the braids going. Oh, he looks sick as fuck. Yeah, he did have big
Yeah,
crazy hair at one point. That's what I
yeah,
saw
it's
him
funny
with.
because someone was recording his G League stats, and the joke came up where he averages like 3.4 hairstyles a game.
That's fucking hilarious.
I
Oh,
mean, they're not wrong.
I forgot. Do you want to talk briefly about Brittany Griner too?
Oh yes, yes.
Free
So
BG, I believe it is. Hashtag.
for those who haven't been paying attention to it, Brittany Griner was sentenced to 9.5 years in Russian prison
I want you to pay extra attention to the words Russian prison because that is where it all counts. Have you watched
for
Stranger Things season 4? You should.
illegal possession of drugs, and it was marijuana. If
It
for
was like
anyone
a
who wanted
THC oil, wasn't it, or like a
something like
CBD oil
that,
or something? Like
yeah.
it. She didn't bring in like 3 pounds of fucking
No,
premium
it
Kush or
was like
something.
a little thing
Like it
of
was
like,
probably for
yeah.
her aching muscles and joints,
But so
maybe many of her
they caught
tattoo
her with
scars.
that, and then she got sentenced to 9.5 years of prison.
Because Russia does
And
not fuck around.
now the states are trying to argue or negotiate. My bad,
Argue
negotiate a
is probably
trade.
more likely. Although I don't know how much Joe
Probably
Biden can argue. He probably would just stumble himself up
no,
into a
yeah.
fucking confusing mess.
But they're trying to negotiate a trade with Russia right now for a Russian arms dealer. And if this goes through, it will be the most impactful trade of basketball offseason.
That's awesome. No, but if you're Russia, you probably want the Russian arms dealer. I mean, maybe though he's probably on your side. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe he
like
was
they're
working for
probably.
you, and you're like, yeah, I don't know, fuck him.
I think it was a 2-for-1 too. I think it was
Oh, really?
originally supposed to be Brittany Griner and someone else for the arms dealer.
Oh, how do you feel being that other person? Be like, oh, I'm holding up the trade. I'm gonna get dumped. All right, that's
But
cool. I'll keep fighting bears.
if
That's
I'm
fine.
Russia, I feel like Brittany Griner is more valuable than
Well, yeah,
the arms
but
dealer,
I
right?
guess. I mean, I guess it
So
depends where
like
your value lies, but it's hard to predict a guy like Putin. That's kind of the point.
that's true. But yeah, so we don't know where this is going. We don't know where it's headed. Hopefully, Brittany Griner makes it back to the states. I know the WNBA would very much like to have her back,
She can't be doing well
considering
over there, right?
considering she's like by far the best center in the WNBA. So,
I mean, I've
from
seen
my
pictures
limited
of her
knowledge
in
of women's
court. She
basketball,
doesn't look like she's doing all right.
no, no,
I
she
can't
definitely is
imagine you
not.
would be. Just
No,
existing in Russia alone, you don't do all right, let alone in their prisons.
yeah. So that's kind of rough,
Literally
but
a horror movie setting. I mean, come on. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, I guess hashtag
that's
free
basketball.
BG. That's
Yep,
basketball, eh?
that's our basketball news.
God, basketball's so fucking boring lately. Maybe we should stop
I
letting you
know
lead
it.
off.
Maybe we should start leading off with other stuff and just throwing in
Nobody
basketball at the
makes
end.
it to the end of these anyway. We could just cut you
Oh
right
no,
out of
yeah,
it.
we can just we should just leave it at the end.
All right,
So tell
Nathan.
me about this yachting stuff.
Are you ready? Here it
Oh yeah.
comes. Ready?
Okay.
This day in sports. 1870. All right. August. Is that what month it is? August 8th? Yeah, it was Jeff's
Yes,
birthday 2 days
August
ago. Happy
8th.
birthday, Jeff. By the way, before we get into it, I wanted to mention Talking Baseball podcast, great podcast. I've referenced them before. The two, I'm not discounting Trevor Plouffe, but the two main guys there who started it, John Boy and Jake. John Boy is married to a Katie, my friend is dating a Katie here.
Uh-huh.
If you're okay with me saying that on the podcast, we can always bleep that out. I guess it doesn't matter. I said what John Boy's wife was. They're gonna know anyway. Jake is engaged to a Jess. I'm dating a Jess. So how cool is that? You know what I mean?
There we go.
There we go. I think we're on the right track. Those
We're
guys,
on the right
those
track.
guys are in success. I would say they have found success. Maybe we're on the right path. So anyway, 1870, August 8th, the first America's Cup, New York Yacht Club's first defense of the America's Cup, Magic of New York City Yacht Club defeats Cambria of the Royal Thames Yacht Club in England, and 16 fellow defenders from the New York Harbor to Sandy Hook Light Vessel on the Atlantic and return. I'm not even sure what it means. It's 38 miles. Basically, they raced their yachts, a bunch of rich assholes, 38 miles, and America won. Let's go.
Wow,
Fuck yeah. Monster trucks. But the only reason I wanted to mention this is because what the fuck does yachting in 1870 look like? In
I don't know. Is it
1870, I still see like Christopher Columbus
rowboats?
ships and shit.
Like,
You know what I mean? If it's not Christopher Columbus ships, it's like fucking paddle boats going up the Mississippi. What the hell does
Yeah,
a
is it
yacht
like
look like? Is
I
that
don't
just
know.
a is
Let's
that just
take
a
a
big
look.
sailboat?
1870s yacht.
It must just be a
take
big
look.
sailboat, right? I mean,
It is. It's just a big sailboat.
I gotta see something. I didn't have time to
This
Google
is
it
here.
up.
Let me send you a photo right
Oh
now.
my Jesus, this is so pathetic. Fucking hell. Why would you I
Why'd
mean,
you
it
race
looks
those?
cool, I guess, but all right. So yeah, so a bunch of nerds, fucking hoity-toity assholes probably eating caviar did that. Go America. 1950, big jump. Florence Chadwick swims the English Channel. I just mentioned it because it's a badass chick. I wouldn't want to swim the English Channel.
Yeah, no, I'd probably drown.
Yeah, no, I'd get fucked up big time. They'd fucking drop like French fries on me or something. I don't
Oh,
know.
I
I don't
see you
know.
don't got
Boiled
you don't
ham.
have the one that I found was 1920. August 8th, 1920 was the shortest game in basketball history or baseball
I
history.
was going to put that one. It was only like
Yeah, it was like what
72
73
minutes.
minutes or
Yeah,
something.
73
Yeah,
minutes. They win 1-0. I'm like, everybody struck out on like 3 pitches, right?
that's probably like the most
Or
boring game
everybody
to
hit
watch.
a lame ground out on the first pitch.
Yeah,
I mean,
that must have been
73 minutes. I watched a Blue Jays game last week that was just over 2 hours, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck? It's the 8th inning? This is bullshit. 70. You're like, I want my money
Imagine
back.
paying for that. Yeah,
I mean, I guess at the
or
time
just
you were paying like
1920 is
10
probably
cents.
like
But I mean, at the
1920
time,
was
that's
probably
kind of a
like
lot
I'll
of
give
money.
you my bag of peanuts for
Yeah, can I
for
let you hang
the
on to my
pittance.
chicken? Does that count?
Like here's corn, let me
If it
in.
lays an egg, you can keep it. I don't know. Yeah, so that happened too. But in 1988, the Cubs and the Phillies attempted to play the first night game ever at Wrigley Field. Overrated field, in my opinion. Cool neighborhood. But they were rained out in the fourth inning with Chicago leading 3-1. So, yeah, kind of wrecked the debut there. 1990, Carlton Fisk ties Johnny Bench, hitting 327 home runs as a catcher. It's fucking huge. 1990 also, Pete Rose begins his 5-month prison term at Marion, Illinois Federal Prison Camp. And 92, let's go. This is what I was talking about. The original
USA
U.S.
dream.
Dream Team takes home basketball gold at Barcelona with a win over Croatia, 117 to 85. Just dominant.
I mean, yeah, like who was gonna beat that team?
Nobody could. Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing. I mean, everybody there was a Hall of Famer except for like the one fucking college guy. I don't even remember his
Yeah,
name right now. So yeah, I mean that was huge. That was massive. Obviously altered the entire face of the NBA going forward. 1997, Randy Johnson playing for the Mariners struck out 19 Chicago White Sox. Just doing fucking Randy Johnson things,
that was
dropping a
the
dick.
super lanky guy, right? The giant.
Randy Johnson has one of the greatest mustaches in baseball history. He has one of the best pitching arsenals in baseball history. And yeah, he looks like a fucking spider.
Yeah, wasn't he like 6'7" or something like that?
Oh, yeah, he was massive. He's if you saw Randy Johnson, you would go, I can visualize. I've actually seen that guy, having never been to a rodeo, at the rodeo with his high tight jeans, the big belt buckle, and he's got a 27-gallon hat. This thing is fucking big. All right. That's exactly what you see. And like he's like got a huge lip of chaw going and stuff, and he calls it chaw. Like you gotta refer to it as chaw. It's not chew, it's not dip, it's
That's
fucking
Cha.
chaw. So yeah, I mean that Randy Johnson just dominated the White Sox. 97 too. I don't know. Is Frank Thomas still there? Maybe Big Hurt. He probably struck out like 6 times that day. If he didn't go deep. 2004, finally, John Elway is inducted into the Football Hall of Fame. It's awesome. John Elway, one of the most storied and great quarterbacks in NFL history. You can go watch about 3 days worth of like highlight reel of him. So if you don't know who John Elway is, you should do that.
Yeah, you should definitely go look up John Elway.
It's a lot of orange to look at, but it's worth it.
It's worth it. Yeah.
So I would say without a doubt the biggest news of the day for me is Vin Scully passed away at 94. He passed away this past week. If you haven't seen before his goodbye address, doing his final broadcast, you got to go look it up. It gives you legitimate chills, even if you've never heard of him before, if you've never watched baseball before. Uh, his goodbye address will give you everything you need to know, basically, about why he is the greatest announcer in probably all of sports history. I mean, I know Bob Costas, who you could argue is also, has given Vin Scully that credit. So I feel very confident saying that. But he was famous. I mean, the way that he talked alone was it captivated people. I mean, he was known for more than 6 decades of broadcasting as the greatest storyteller to ever be in baseball. He would start his broadcast saying, "Hi, everybody, and very pleasant good afternoon to you wherever you may be. Pull up a chair and spend part of the day with us." And he talked throughout the whole game in like kind of a folksy tale. He made every single drop of sweat and bit of dust that gets kicked up on the baseball field known in the most important feeling way you could hear it. I mean, people back when he started broadcasting early in the 50s, when they were watching the Brooklyn Dodgers before they moved to LA, he came up, and when they moved to LA, they didn't have Dodger Stadium yet. They were playing in like the LA Coliseum. So when fans went, they were sitting 74 rows above the field because of the way it had to be laid out. They all had radios. They had to listen to it, or they couldn't have known what was happening. So him broadcasting, he found a way to weave his stories and his tidbits and notes about the players over the course of full at bats or multiple at bats or even throughout innings. And he was known for basically drawing attention to baseball just by the way he talked about it. He actually made the baseball element in media at the time much bigger because he was able to take the Dodgers broadcast radio station basically to the top of the charts year in and year out, even when the Dodgers were not a good baseball team, which is hard to imagine them as. And eventually it got to the point where when they were in San Francisco playing the Giants, which is one of the most storied rivalries in all of baseball and maybe all of sports, they actually had to broadcast all of those games just to simply capitalize on what Vin Scully could do as a programming. And it showed because I don't know if anybody listening knows the show Bonanza, but when there was like 3 shows on TV, Bonanza was the biggest one by far and away. And when there was 100 shows on TV, it was still credited as the greatest show on TV, even though it wasn't on anymore. Their games highly eclipsed Bonanza ratings every time they were shown. So it just goes to show like he didn't only mean something to the Dodgers or to the Dodgers fans. He meant something to all of baseball and most like mass
Most of
sport marketing.
sports. Yeah.
I mean, he ended up commentating for I think golf and tennis and a few other sports as well. Like he was everywhere. He was there for like some of the biggest moments in Dodgers history and in sport history general. He called Hank Aaron's home run record setting 715th home run in Atlanta. He called game one of the 1988 World Series against the Athletics. Fucking Gibson hitting the ninth inning home run. And he set the tone for so many other announcers to come after him as to how you should broadcast a game. And it's kind of how I see Buck Martinez that I was talking about in last episode that
Yeah.
obviously isn't up yet. I mean, it's just something that they have that really transcends more than the game. It reaches people on a deeper level than that. So definitely go look up Vin Scully. Listen to anything and everything you can. And not only is he one of the greatest sportscasters in all of history, he's known as like one of the greatest humanitarians that the game of baseball has ever known. Just the nicest man, did everything for everybody. Um, Actually, when he was young, when he was calling, he was such a player's guy. He played in his post secondary education and stuff like that. Like he was in baseball. He cared so much for the players that when he was wrapped up in what they were doing, his emotions got the best of him, and part of his trademark silence came from him trying to not let his voice crack and break the emotion. So that's really how into it he was. So go listen to some of his calls, and I mean he's got some of the most famous lines ever said. In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened. I know that was in an intro to one of the MLB The Show games a few years ago. Like he's done it all. He's fantastic. You could learn a lot from him just about being a person. So check him out. And then we're really thinning out here, Nathan. We need the sports world to kick
We
off
really are.
because
Come on, sports world. Get
I
going.
know
Do
it's
some stuff.
pathetic.
I feel like we
Hire
should like
us.
poke it with a stick, you know?
A team, even a minor league team, just go hire us and let us do some shit for a week so we have something to talk about. Nathan, if we could do that, if we could go
If we could go,
take control of any team in any position, it doesn't even necessarily have to be realistic. What would you want to do? Where would you want to go?
give me New York, dude.
What, you want
Give
the
me the
Knicks?
Knicks. I'd fix them up, yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, I was kind of half-assing what I was saying earlier. I really don't know that much about basketball. But if you
I
let
think
me bring
I
my
think I could do a decent
PlayStation
job.
and we set
I'd
up
bring you,
2K in the office, I'll check
yeah,
them out on
I'd bring
there. I
you
could
as the
probably handle
AGM.
what you're talking about.
Or build. Actually, no. I want a contender. I think I would want a
Let me
contender.
be strength and conditioning coach. That's what I should do.
That'd be cool. That'd be
I'll just
cool.
go down there, drink a bunch of beer, and just yell at guys to push harder. I'll just keep stacking
Because
players
I
on
think
shit.
like taking like Phoenix or something would be a good one.
So I was
'Cause
thinking
it's
like
just like
OHL hockey team or something. Like you're going big here.
I want to go big, dude. I
I
want to
just
go big.
wanted to go like make some fun videos or something and fuck around for a
Or
week.
give me the Raptors 905. Give me their
Oh,
G
that
League.
would be cool. You know what? Let me
That
just
would
throw
be
out the
fun.
first pitch at a Jays game. I'll take that. I don't really want to do like work, but that'd be cool.
That would
That'd
be
give me
cool.
something to talk about.
Yeah.
I might get to
Or
meet
like even
somebody.
just doing media for the Raptors 905 for a day.
Dude, I would love to like do you think if we get this podcast somewhat big enough we could get media passes to stuff?
Maybe.
Cuz like I would love to be able to do interviews on this show.
Oh yeah. I would
And a
love
lot of
to.
the guys I'd like to interview are just people in general or generally in like sports media is who I would like to interview a lot. I
Mhm.
mean
I
obviously
want
players
Stephen
and
A on this
coaches and
pod,
stuff.
bro.
Oh
We
man,
need
I
to
don't
make a
know.
petition to get Stephen A on this pod.
I don't know, buddy. I drink beer while we record these. I don't know how that would go.
We'll find a way to make it work.
Does that mean I don't get to drink beer for all of our podcasts? I like that. That's what.
Unfortunately, only for that podcast though.
I could do it. I could do it, but you'd have to
Just one
take the
podcast.
lead for sure.
Oh yeah, it's Stephen A. I could talk basketball with Stephen A.
That's a good comment, actually. Leave who you'd like us to interview one day. I mean,
I'll
it
just
probably won't happen for a
say
long time.
the hottest take around him and just watch him go off.
I mean, isn't that what that frosty-haired douchebag gets paid to do? Is just like argue with him?
Yes, yes, it is. Max Kellerman. I
No,
mean, he's
not
gone
Max
now.
Kellerman. The
You
other
mean Skip?
dickhead. Skip. Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't. He's not on the same show as. Um,
Weren't
he's
they
not on the
on
same
one
show as
together?
Stephen A. I don't think so.
Maybe I'm fucked up. That is
Maybe
his role, right? Like he's just paid to say arrogant
to
shit to
just
like
pretty
black
much to just hate on
broadcasters.
LeBron for
Yeah. All
hours.
right. Maybe I need to know what I'm talking about before I start ripping on people. Anyway, we can get on to a little bit more news here. I'm going to start with this one. The Huberdeau extension. Johnny Huberdeau talked about him getting traded to Calgary. He signed a deal not too long after being traded, 8-year, $84 million contract extension, biggest in Flames history. No big deal. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's from Quebec. He's got a couple of guys on the team that he knew that told him lots about Calgary and kind of
Yeah.
helped him like feel good there. And he seems like he said, I don't know much about Calgary, but like I'm ready to just go play hockey.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I was gonna say. He seems like the guy that's just like there to play.
yeah,
Like,
he's like, I didn't want to worry about the business anymore. I'm really glad that now that's just out of the way and I can just go do my thing. So, I mean, I don't know, face of the franchise kind of guy. He's got to lead. I'm not going to call it a rebuild, but he's got to lead the way for a team that's not really a playoff contender in most
yeah,
people's
I guess
eyes.
it's more of a retool than a rebuild.
I
Like
know we talked
you're
about
kind
how
of
I
just
don't really
changing
appreciate that
parts.
phrase, but I think you're using it correctly in this sense.
They're just doing a little slight tweak to the team rather than like
Yeah.
a full rebuild. Although I do think in these kinds of scenarios, a full rebuild is better. But
I mean,
teach their
I tend to agree. Like in my mind, if you were going to trade Kachuk, you probably trade everybody. But
yeah. But
going and
you know,
getting Huberdeau, like I see what's going on here.
so I see what they're doing. I understand what they're doing. I just don't agree with it.
I'm intrigued to see how it plays out. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because seeing Calgary in the playoffs is something I would be a fan
Yes, I do enjoy watching Canadian teams making deep runs in the playoffs.
of. Yeah, so we bounce around sports here again. We're going back to baseball real quick. A guy I really like, even though he's been on rival teams for a long time, for all of time. Didi Gregorius gets released by the Phillies on Thursday. If you don't know him, he's a shortstop. He is from the Netherlands, actually, if you didn't know.
I did
And
not know he was from the Netherlands.
he played on the Yankees for a long time. That's where I know him from. And he was
Yeah,
pretty
that's where I know
fantastic.
him from too.
He was like, I would call him a great. I mean, he's the shortstop that came in to replace Derek Jeter. So
Yeah, that's pretty big shoes to fill there.
those are huge shoes to fill, and he did a solid job. Yankees fans enjoyed him for the most part. I mean, Yankees fans hate everybody, but they enjoyed him for the most part. He's thought of well in the Yankees organization. Obviously, when Girardi went to Philly, he brought Didi with him, basically. So he's been fantastic, and like as a guy, not a player, he is incredible. He speaks something like 6 languages. People say like he's the smartest guy they've ever met. He's got a through the roof IQ, supposedly. A lot of people attribute that to why he's so great at playing the shortstop position. Um, you could argue that, but I'm not gonna. And just aside from that, like apparently he's just one of the nicest people in baseball. So it kind of sucks to see him go, but he's gonna get signed to a deal for sure.
Oh yeah,
Um, he got cleared on he had to go off the 26 man because Gene Segura was coming back. Um, he got activated off the 60-day IL, and Bryson Stott is now kind of being thrust into Philly's everyday shortstop role. They also traded for Edmundo Sosa, who's a Gold Glover from St. Louis, pretty good with the bat, and they've got Jairo Munoz. So they have tons of depth and versatility, and Didi was kind of the odd man out. Uh, it, Rob Thompson, Canadian interim manager of the Phillies, did want to make it a point that it doesn't mean he's a bad player. He's played shortstop well for us. He just didn't hit the way he normally hits. I mean, he is 32, but he hit 210 with 1 homer, 19 RBIs, and a 576 OPS over 232
yeah.
plate appearances
That's
this season.
it's not the greatest.
And aside from that, he had a -5 WAR according to Baseball Reference, as well as a -4 outs above average in the infield according to Statcast, which defensive metrics are bullshit anyway in baseball, but that's pretty bad. Like, it's definitely not what you're
Pretty
looking
rough.
for at the
Yeah.
shortstop position. Bryson Stott, if you don't know, he's a high draft pick of the Phillies. He's kind of been up and down, like most Phillies high draft picks. He's not really panning out. Nothing against him. I am rooting for him. I like him a lot. He's 24. Thursday, he was hitting 196 with 7 homers, 32 RBIs, a 576 OPS, which is almost identical in 267 plate appearances, which again is almost identical. He does have a .2 batter WAR and a +1 outs above average in the infield. But he also is just doing so much better than Gregorius. In his last 18 games, he has almost an 800 OPS. And in the last 32 games for Gregorius, he has under a 400 OPS. So
Yeah, so, I mean,
kind
if
of a
you're looking
clear
for a better
decision.
hitter, it's very clear that Stott's the better hitter.
But I think Didi's definitely going to get an opportunity, just based on his track record and being 32. Like you're not out of baseball at
Yeah,
32
no,
if
you
you've
still
had
got
this
a few
much of a
years left in
career.
you.
You know what I mean? You still have something to offer to somebody.
Yeah,
I'd like to see him go to Miami if I'm being honest, and kind of be like a bench guy. Just
yeah,
go be like true leadership quality for the guys down there. Don Mattingly, Yankee tie-in. Jeter was there, obviously. Now he's gone. I just feel like he'd fit in really well there. He'd enjoy it. He'd get a decent chance, and there's not much pressure on them right now. I mean, there is, but the way that they've now assembled their team, there kind of can't be. So he'd get a chance, and I think he'd do well someplace like that. And then, yeah, wrapping it up, Kareem Hunt, one of my favorite running backs in the NFL, aside from his legal issues. Um, 2017 NFL's rushing leader. He demanded a trade in training camp after the team denied his request for a long-term contract extension, and he was holding himself out of drills. I think I talked about it before. I think it's a hold in, they call it, and
yeah.
it didn't matter because he just ended up practicing Sunday anyway. Um, Kevin Stefanski said, "Where we are working, there is no distraction. I understand there are things that happen that certainly get attention, and that's okay. This is normal. This is NFL football, as far as I know." So, yeah, he gets it. This is just what the NFL is.
It's just a
Um,
business. Yeah,
it's a lot of whining, really,
it
and
is a lot of whining.
I don't know. Maybe I just instantly severed ties without with being able to interview any NFL associate. Not that I necessarily want to. Basically, just
There are
calling
certain
them
players that
sissies.
I think maybe would be cool to interview, but
Oh, I'm gonna debut my NFL sexiest player lists at
yeah,
some point.
anything that isn't a player though, I don't really want to interview.
Yeah, no, I can stay away from that. I don't want to give them the dignity
Yeah,
or the respect, if I'm being honest. Um, but yeah, Stefanski, he declined to answer questions specifically, just the same way he did about Watson. That's kind of his policy as a coach. It's most coaches' policy in the NFL. I mean,
yeah,
you don't want to go saying shit about players because players have way more leverage than you do as a coach,
yeah.
which
And if
is
you say the
weird to
wrong thing,
say.
you're kind of screwed.
I mean, yeah, unless you're somebody like, Belichick, like
Yeah, where you can
even
say
Andy
whatever you
Reid,
want.
like if Patrick Mahomes said I'm not playing for Andy Reid, he'd probably be out the door at some point. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's yeah, so I don't know. That's kind of interesting. I'd like him in Cleveland a lot. I really like him playing there. I hope he gets an extension. I do. What did the Browns have to lose? I know he's been injured and he's had some issues, but he's just he was so fantastic. I mean, you don't have to give him a huge deal. Give him a few more years. He's still young enough, and like I said, you like what do you have to lose as Cleveland? You know what I
yeah,
mean? The team
true.
already left once. They're not leaving again. So how bad can it really get? But yeah, I don't know, Nathan. That kind of wraps it up. Like I said, it's
That
really
does. Yeah.
it's really been lacking this week. I don't know. I think we still filled the
Forest
time.
World needs to get going again. We
Oh
need
my
a
god, I
little more
know.
stuff.
And somebody, if anybody's listening who knows anything about Premiere, please reach out because we're having so many issues right now, and I can't decipher
Well, the
internet
issue is
fixes
this has to get
anymore.
out for them to
Well,
be able to.
yeah, I'm hoping that I don't have to also continue to do this through like iMovie if that's what works today.
True.
Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. If anybody knows, reach out. You can do that again
Through
at
Twitter.
Totally Off Pod on Twitter, as well as in the comment section below if this is on YouTube right now. Aside from that, Nathan, is there anything you'd like to say to the good people?
Thanks for listening. Thanks
Yeah,
for watching. Maybe
yeah.
sort of watching.
Sort of watching. You don't have to watch
If
it.
you
We
made
haven't
it
really
this
been adding
far, I
much.
congratulate you and I appreciate you.
We're gonna start getting like some end of the episode like rewards, like something that really makes it worth listening to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we can have like fun sports clips or like
Once we get enough people, we could do like shout
outtakes.
outs.
Oh, shoutouts would be great. I don't know what
Yeah.
we'd have to
We'll
give
do
you
like
if
a
you wanted a
comment of
shoutout.
the day, comment of the
Oh,
week.
that'd be great. All right, let's do that. Yeah,
All
leave
right.
comments. You can be our first ever comment
You'll
of
be
the
our
week.
first comment of the week.
Maybe that's the thing we'll do is next week if one person comments, they're officially the first
The first
comment of the
comment of the
week.
week.
And it's
Maybe.
not even a lie at that point.
No.
All right,
All
that
right.
could be
Well,
you. Hopefully we're reading those at the end of next week's episode 6. Hopefully these are up. Maybe it'll be a batch drop. If it is,
maybe.
you'll know. All right, thank you for listening.